الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us beneficial knowledge, and we ask Him subhanahu to grant us to act upon the knowledge. We also ask Him subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us within the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. Inshallah, we'll continue learning about the fiqh of fasting. And as you know, learning about fiqh is learning about your deen. And we know the fiqh address all the rulings in our religion. So without the fiqh, there is no religion. It's just a faith without a practice. And our religion is based upon faith and practice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time, when He called the believers, He will say, Inna alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat. Those who believe and act good. But the action cannot be good or valid before the fiqh will give the instruction how to perform those actions. So that's the reason why it's very important to learn about the fiqh. And the fiqh is from the Quran and from the Sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. And then the understanding of the Sahaba and the Tabi'een and the fuqaha of the Madhahib. But everything is based on the same principles, either from the Quran, from the Sunnah, Qiyas, Ijtihad, and all those things. So today, inshallah, we'll talk about the sick person and the traveler. The sick and the traveler. Yesterday we talked about them. We said if a person is traveling or if they are sick, the chosen opinion is that they are being given the option to fast or not to fast. And it's the same. But then we went through the madahibs. Some said fasting is the best, and some said they must fast except if their disease become a threat to their lives. But then it's very difficult to bring strong and solid proofs, to base that, to base what they're saying. So we'll just say that if a person is sick, generally, from the Quran and from the Sunnah of Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, they have the option to fast and they have option not to fast. The only time they cannot fast is if the fasting can cause and can harm them, can bring hurt to them, as Imam Malik rahimahullah said. But he said that's the only time that this person have options. But then Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he said at that time they cannot fast. And we talked about the traveler. When can they begin taking the excuse not to fast, or to be in the position to have the option to fast or not to fast? We said the ulama, they have differences. Some of them said, the day that they started traveling. Some said, no, it's not that day. And also, we talked about the limit of the traveling. What is the distance of the traveling that the person, is able to break their fast or to combine their prayers? And we went in detail about it. And today we're going to talk about if the sick person break their fast and the traveler, if they break their fast, what is the ruling? What is the ruling? It means, are they going to make up those fastings or not? So that's the question. Are they going to make up that fasting or not? Number one, all the fuqaha, with no exception, they agreed that if a traveler break their fast or a sick person break their fast because of that particular reason, being sick or traveling, they have to make up those days right after the month of Ramadan, like after the month of Ramadan. And there's a dispute. When like, are they allowed to delay it, or they have the option to make it up whenever they want, or they have to make it also in odd, like, straight days? Also, it's a dispute between the ulama. But number one, they agreed that they have to make up those days. So there's no dispute between the ulama, for the person who travel and break their fast, and the one that's sick and break their fast. They have to make up those days. But then there are two things that they have dispute in terms of sickness. They call al-ighma wal junun. Somebody losing their mind is sickness. Somebody also like fainting, like, passing out, also is a form of sickness. That particular thing, they have a problem with it, because they cannot just say, okay, they have a big argument between the person who, lost their mind during the day of the month of Ramadan, or the person who passed out during the day of the month of Ramadan. Are they obligated? Is that a sickness that will put the person in the situation of breaking their fast and making it up the next day? The fuqaha, they have a big dispute about it. The fuqaha al-amsar, and we talked about them. When we say fuqaha al-amsar, you know them now. The scholar, the fuqaha of the region, and we said these are the tabi'in, Sa'id, and their leader is Sa'id al-Musayyib, and we have Urwa and Khala, and those 7 ulama, they are the fuqaha al-amsar. They said if the person pass out during the day of the month of Ramadan, and that be a reason for them to break their fast, they have to make up those days wujuban, which is an obligation upon them to make up those days. Even though if they pass out, they are not obligated, but they said if that happened during the day of the month of Ramadan, they have to make up those days. That day will not be counted. That day, the fasting of that day is gone, but they have to make up that day out of the month of Ramadan when they feel better. So this is their madhab of their fuqaha of the Amsar, of the region. And when we say the region, it's referring to in Medina, people who lived in Medina together, and they were all scholars, and they learned from their parents or their uncles, and those were the Sahaba of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So fuqaha al-Amsar, they agreed that if a person passes out, they have to make up those days. But within them, they disagreed. For the person who lost their mind, for the person who went crazy, who went insane, is he going to, or is she going to make up those days that, they lost their mind or not? They have two opinions. A group of them said, yes, because of that happened during the month of Ramadan, if they don't feel good, if their mind didn't come forever, then they don't have to make up those days. But at some point, if they have their mind back, then they have to make up the days that they missed within that month of Ramadan. A group said, no, they lost their mind. They are not mukallaf anymore. Mukallaf is, one of the conditions of the mukallaf, a responsible person, is al-aql, is to be sane. So if that is being taken away from you, then you are not mukallaf anymore. You are not responsible anymore for the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you don't do it, you are not responsible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not hold you accountable. This is the fuqaha al-amsar. Imam Malik rahimahullah also, he said they have to make up those days. They have to make up those days. Like this is for the person who lost their mind, person who went crazy during the month of Ramadan. What I mean about crazy is they become insane. Imam Malik in his madhab, they said they have to make up those days. If they went with the first group who said if their mind come back at some point before the end of their life, then they are responsible to make up those days. And Ibn Rushd, he said, وَهَذَا الْقَوْلُ فِيهِ ضَعْفٌ. He said this statement is very, very, very weak. It has no base. It has no base. And because the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, when he said about fasting, he said, وَعَنِ الْمَجْنُونِ حَتَّى يُفِيقْ. He said, as for the person who is sick, there is no rest. They should fast till they have their mind come back. They have their mind come back. So this is what they said. So first we said that the Fuqaha al-Amsar, they said the person who is sick and the person who is crazy, if that happened during the month of Ramadan, they have to make up those days. And they have, like, the person who lost their mind. For the sick person, they have two opinions. They have two groups. And Malik rahimahullah is he is with one of the groups who said if they have their mind back, before the end of their lives. But the rest of the fuqaha, and when I say the rest of the fuqaha, is because we focus on the four. The rest of them, they said they should not make up those days because they are not responsible anymore. Yes, when I say the rest of the fuqaha is, Abu Hanifa and Imam Shafi'i and Imam Ahmad, rahimahumullahu jami'an. So then, this is the sick person. Two things that we have to verify. Are they allowed to break their fast? Yes, if they're sick. Who will determine that they can do it themselves or the person who has the knowledge in that area? If they break their fast, they have to make up those days. It's agreed upon. The disagreement happens between the person who lost their mind or the person who fainted during the month of Ramadan, or they fasted Ramadan. Do they have to do it? We explained how the proof they brought, in this argument. But the traveler also is the same thing. They have to do the same process and the same, because the reason why they brought the sick person is because of traveling. The nature of the trip can be different, but as long as this person is healthy, they have the opportunity to break their fast, but then they have to make up their fasting. This agreed upon. No alim, said about this. So that's why he didn't bring it. He didn't bring that in his, he didn't comment on that. They all agreed that person is traveling, they come back, they have to make up that day. But remember, Hanifa rahimahullah, he has a statement about it, that if he did not, the person who's traveling, you don't have intention of fasting the month of Ramadan, if he fasts or she fasts other days, then those days are going to be sunnah fastings and going to be fard fasting. It means that they're going to fast, the month of Ramadan, even though they fasted Ramadan. Now, so for the person who is making up in the month of Ramadan, are they with that person? So the question is the ways of making up. We all, for example, when you're sick, maybe you owe like 3 days, 4 days, 5 days in the month of Ramadan. What is the Sharia? What is the ruling when you are making up those days? We know that there are the only time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said fast certain days by their names is the month of Ramadan. So making up, we know that it can be done throughout the year before the next month of Ramadan. It can be done throughout the year before the next month of Ramadan. But then When the person start making up, this is when the Sharia comes. When the Sharia comes, when the dispute comes, are they going to fast straight? Which means that if they start, they cannot break their fast till they complete what they owe. Or do they have the option to fast any day that they want before the next month of Ramadan? Let's say they fast today and then they wait next day or next month, or after 3 months, they fast another day. Or do they have to just, when they start fasting today, Sunday, it has to be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, till they finish their fasting. This is a big, debate between the ulama. But here you will split the ulama into two. All of them, all the fuqaha. Some said they have the option to start fasting whenever they want between the 2 months of Ramadan, between the previous one and the upcoming one. But as soon as they determine to start, they cannot stop fasting. They cannot stop fasting. They have to complete. The others said, no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخْرَى. If you cannot fast for these legal reasons, you can make it up in other days. But he didn't say, أَيَّامًا أُخَرْ مُتَتَابِعَات. You do them straight. So that means that we are going to tell this person to fast whenever he wants. The reason why this mas'ala is has a big difference, because in this ayah, Aisha radiallahu anha said, when this ayah revealed, there was a part in this ayah that was taken away. That's what they call naskh al-lafz. We know naskh is abrogation. A ruling comes, and we talked about abrogation in the beginning. A ruling comes today, and then after a while, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring another ruling that contradicts with this one, which means that this one that came right now is abrogating the one that was there. And this is known in the Sharia. And we explained that. I don't know if I have the chance to explain the reason of the the complete picture of obligation. Let me see who is in halaqah so I can ask. Who can give us? Oh, Amar is there. Amar.
Yes, sir.
Amar, were you in halaqah when we talk about naskh?
Yes, I was.
Okay, good. Now we have a question. Explain to us what naskh is.
As far as I don't remember it fully, but I'll give it my best shot. I think it's what I remember. It's naskh is abrogation. So an ayah that was previously revealed is no longer valid for the current ruling. So another ayah gets revealed to replace it. So when we talked about it was where people just say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is contradicting himself. It's not him contradicting himself, but he replaces the ayah with something that's better or more appropriate as time went
on. Okay, good. But I'm not convinced. There's a piece that is
yeah, I know, and there's got to be something more to it.
Yeah, there's a piece that is missing. Like right now, in our laws, we put a law. We put a lot of time studying the law, and we put that as a law. But then we don't know exactly how the future is going to look like. And the future will bring to us a situation that the law that we have cannot accommodate that. So we have that situation will force us to amend the law that we have. So that means that we didn't know. If we know that this is going to happen, then we're going to put a law for that, right? But we didn't know that is going to happen. That means that our knowledge is limited. We just put the law based on what we see. Why? That's the reason why we're going to see a lot of, amended laws, constitutions and all those things because of the situation that that occurred. What they weren't aware of it, so they have to amend the law to make sure that they accommodate the situation. That's what they call al-bada in Arabic, and we said al-bada is exactly what I just said right now. And that is impossible with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what exactly happened today and what is going to happen tomorrow. Exactly. So he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he put laws at the same time. But he let one to be effective. But it has a specific time frame. When that time frame comes, that one will be expired and then the other will take place. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows exactly what is good at this time. Like, for example, we give a lot of examples, like the Kaaba. When they were praying in Mecca, the Kaaba was surrounded with idols. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Muslims to face the Bayt al-Maqdis as a temporal rule. When Mecca is clean, by the time Mecca is clean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will abrogate the first ruling and will bring effect to the first, to the second ruling. So this is what they call al-bada. So the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do abrogate and the way we abrogate is different. We cannot put two laws at the same time. And we say, when a situation arrives, because we don't know exactly what kind of situation is going to come, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put both of them, because you have to know that the Quran was revealed completely in the Bayt al-Ma'mur, in the Sama al-Dunya. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't say and then contradict himself. No, he said it all together and put it there. But one will come at a specific time, and then when that time is over, when that rule, serve its purpose, it will go, and then the other will come at the same time. I hope this is summarized so you can understand the obligation. Now, Omar, you have to go back to it again.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have notes somewhere. It just wasn't fast enough to pull them up.
Okay, good.
Jazakallah khair.
You don't have to pull them up. You have to memorize them.
Right.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Who is that?
Saad al-Hafid. Saad al-Hafid.
Naam.
Sheikh, I was unfortunate I wasn't there when you were explaining. But now I heard the explanation of the obligation. So one question I have, we're gonna put the questions for later.
Yes, let's put the question later. Yes.
Okay, inshallah. So.
Now the question is: now we know that if the person is traveling, they have to make up their days. That's it. This is agreed upon the ulama. But now, if the person dies while owing days in the previous Ramadan, a person wasn't fasting last month of Ramadan, but then they didn't have the chance to make up those days, before the next month of Ramadan, or before they make up those days, their life was taken. What is their ruling? What is their ruling? So the ulama also, they have a big disagreement here. فَقَوْمٌ قَالُوا لَا يَصُومُ عَنْهُ أَحَدٌ, because they said no one will fast on behalf of them. No one will fast on behalf of them. Some of them said يَصُومُ عَنْهُ وَلِيُّهُ, their wali, the person who is, who is there, who will inherit them, like their son, their children, their daughters, the closest people to them will fast for them. So then there are two opinions. One said no one will fast for anyone. Some said no, if he dies while having a fasting that he owed in the past, people after him, his relative, they have to fast. They have to fast for them. So for the people, الذين لم يجيبوا الصوم قالوا يطعم عنه وليه. In the same argument, the one who said that no one will fast for them, they said the people, his relatives, will feed on his behalf, will feed to cover the days that he missed in the previous Ramadan or the days that he owed in his life. And this is مذهب الشافعي. به قال الشافعي رحمه الله. وقال بعضهم لا صيام ولا إطعام إلا أن يوصي به. So another group said he will not fast, he will not feed, except if he asks one of his children, one of his relatives to fast for him, then that become an obligation upon that person to fast. Like he removed his responsibility and put it on another person. That become responsible for the other person to fast those days. And this is the madhab of Malik rahimahullah. Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he said yasum. He said yasum فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ أَطْعَمْ. If this person, before they die, Hanifa said they have to fast. If they're done, or if they are not able to fast because of they didn't get out of that illness, they will feed. So he kind of like take us out of the whole entire argument. He brought us back to the origin. He said, okay, you fast. You're sick, you don't fast. If you know that you will not feel better and there's no chance or the chances are limited, you keep feeding. You keep feeding, and when you die, you have no loan. You didn't owe anything. So this is the madhab of Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. And then Abu Hanifa also, he came out with a narrow, separation. He separated between if this fasting that the person is obligated to fast, is this the month of Ramadan, or is the fasting that is based on a vow? He said, rahimahullah, if it is another, then his wali, her wali, has to fast for them. Another is the vow when you tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, we're having this pandemic, the coronavirus. If you make a sujood, you tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, please, which is good, but then you are putting yourself into a deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this kind of a deal you cannot get out of it till you complete what you have promised. If you tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please, if you take this away from us, I will fast 1 month for you. 1 month for you. As soon as this virus is gone, now you're obligated to fast 1 month. So Abu Hanifa, he said, if and because this fasting is not Ramadan, but it's an obligation. It becomes an obligation. It's not like I wanted to fast on Monday. I just decided to fast, then I stopped fasting. You have nothing. Nothing is on you. But if you make that vow, then you have to fast. So Abu Hanifa, he said, if the fasting that he owed after he died is another, then somebody has to fast for them. Somebody has to fast for them. وَلَا يَصُومُ عَنْهُ فِي الصِّيَامِ رَمَضَانَ مَفْرُوض. If it is a month of Ramadan, then there is no fasting for this person. Again, I will just go back with easily. So if a person dies, like we have people who die, if they owe in their lives fasting, either fasting of the month of Ramadan or an obligatory fasting. The obligatory fastings are 3 kinds. If they have on their necks, those kind of fasting, do they have to make them up after they die? Or do somebody have to make those fasting for them after they die or not? So it's the ulama, they have different madhahibs into this. And we said, Malik rahimahullah, he has his madhab, he said that this person has to fast. Malik rahimahullah, and then Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he made a different. He made it, he said he shouldn't fast, and he said if he is sick and he know that he cannot get out of that sickness, then he just feed, so he will die with, or with nothing. But if that fasting that he owed for some reason is another, then somebody has to fast that for them. Now, so Imam Shafi rahimahullah said he will just feed and he will not fast anymore. And if he died without feeding, people after him will feed for him, and no one is allowed to fast for them. And there are so many proofs that come along with that, and that is the reason why they have differences. One of them is Hadith Aisha radiallahu anha. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, "Man mata wa alayhi siyamun, samahu anhu waliyuhu." And this hadith is authentic, it's a Muslim. Said that if a person dies while owing fasting, his wali or her wali have to fast for them. And this hadith is very general. Very general. So it didn't separate between the fasting of the month of Ramadan or the nadr or the kafara. The Prophet ﷺ said that if a person dies and they owe an obligatory fasting, so here the ulama, they put it on obligatory fasting because it cannot be sunnah fasting. He has to or she has to, somebody have to make up those days for them. But some of the ulama, they made it ta'wil, sama anhu waliyuhu, they use that sama, they said it's a makeup. So that makeup can be because if you were sick, then the fasting will move from staying away from food and drink to feeding other people. So they have their own interpretation of that. And also another hadith of Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu أنه قال جاء رجل إلى النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام فقال, the man came to the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, he said, يا رسول الله إن أمي ماتت وعليها صوم شهر. He said, my mother died and she owed a whole entire month. أفأقضيه عنها, shall I make up those days for her? فقال لو كان على أمك دين أكنت قاضيته عنها. The Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام asked him, if your mother died with a loan, are you going to pay that loan for her? قال نعم. He said yes. قال فدين الله أحق بالقضاء. He said the loan that she owe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more, deserve to be fulfilled, to be fulfilled. So here the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam is making it more strict that, if somebody owes something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, somebody should make up those days, after them. So both of these ahadiths are very, very strong. But then the ulama, some of them رأوا أن الأصول تعارض. So here the ulama, they have something called usul. Usul is the origins, the foundation. They have usul and they have furu'. So this hadith, the two hadith that we mentioned here, they consider them furu'. And what they consider usul is the nature of that ibadah itself. For example, they put the ibadat in categories. Like for example, they put fasting and salah and hajj and those four and zakat. They put them together. They said no one. So if we put them together, also you have a problem. So the people who said no one will pay for that, no one will make up those days for them. They said because even if they don't pray and they died without praying, no one can pray for them. وذلك أنه كما لا يصلي أحد عن أحد لا يتوضأ أحد عن أحد كذلك لا يصوم أحد عن أحد. So they said because if no one can pray for anyone, no one can make a wudu for anyone, then no one can fast for anybody. Of course, the adilla, this is a qiyas that they made. They call it qiyas. They made some measures here, but then first, they have their strong proofs. So the people who use the proofs, they said bil ijab. They said then somebody is obligated to fast for them. Somebody is obligated to fast for them. And people who did not take this hadith, like Abu Hanifa, he made a separation. He said, "Awjaba, al-qada in-nadr." He obligated for the people, for the relatives to fast. One of the relatives to fast for the deceased in Sawmun Nadr if they vow. And that one is actually not just Abu Hanifa, but Abu Hanifa used, and it's a very strong thing here, and he pulled that out. All the ulama, they agreed on this. They agreed on this mas'ala. Person dies while having fasting that was based on another, then somebody has to fast that for them. Somebody has to fast that for them. ومن قاس رمضان عليه قال يصوم عنه في رمضان فقط. And whoever said, whoever limits these in the month of Ramadan, then they said somebody has to fast for them. Somebody has to fast for them. And some others, they said, no, it's just feeding. It's just feeding. And people who said feeding also, their proof is وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, for those who have difficulties to fast, then they should just feed. They should feed. And also there's another opinion that came in between, said, وَمَنْ خَيَّرَ فِي ذَلِكَ وَجَمَعًا بَيْنَ الْآيَةِ وَالْأَثَرِ. So there's some of them, they brought the ayah and the athar. They said, then it's an option because of the ayah here is abrogated. This ayah that they mentioned is abrogated. In the beginning of the fasting, it was not the way it is now. In the beginning of the fasting, it was when Ramadan comes, you fast. If it is difficult for you, you feed. So people were giving option to fast in the beginning of the month of Ramadan. You are staying home, you're healthy, but you're like me, you don't like to be hungry, and you have enough, and to feed somebody, you feed somebody, you don't have to fast. Because fasting was not known at that time, the way we fast now. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gradually, bring the rulings. He doesn't just bring a ruling, a tough rule, and just impose it on them. Rather, he will gradually. Then when the majority took that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when that time, the obligation, I'm talking about obligation here, when the right time came, or when the first one expired, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought the one, and he said, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. He obligated the first one. He said, whoever sighted the moon, and talk about that, they must fast. So he took away that option of that he brought in the beginning. So inshallah, we'll stop here for the sake of the time, and we'll inshallah answer the questions if there's some, inshallah.